Hey, good morning, guys. It's Mark with Hawkeye Ordnance. It's March 15th, 2017. We're sort of at the beginning of what's going to be a huge season here in Minnesota with more shooting than we've ever had before. And I wanted to address something that we've never really hit head on, which is the true cost of getting started in 3-gun. Now, I think we're going to have to lay some ground rules because there's going to be a whole lot of very valid points about costs and you know, you could build your own rifle, you could go with a Stoeger, you could do this, you could do that, and yeah, those are all absolutely valid points. So I want to set the sort of the guardrails around this as being, this is a video for the guy who doesn't build his own guns, doesn't load his ammunition, has no interest in those things. He wants to shoot, right? And so if you're one of those guys who's super handy in your shop, build your rifle, man. Save some money. That's awesome. If you want to cut into your own shotgun and do that work, that's awesome. Save that money. If you've got a super deal on a Glock 34, then that's awesome. Okay, but we're not really talking to you so much because, frankly, you've already got your plan figured out, right? So this is about getting into the game from the ground up. So before we jump in, it's absolutely key, you hear me, because I filmed this video last night, and you're going to start seeing some of that information from some video we did at Arms and Arms last night to show off the guns. Excuse me. And when I got done with it, I watched the video. It's 10 minutes long. I'm totally happy with it, except that despite how upbeat the information was, I found it was really discouraging because the overall cost was sort of overwhelming. So, if you have your dad's 45 and a pump Wingmaster shotgun that you've got, in the basement, and an AR-15 or heck, a Mini 14 or something like that, don't spend $1. Come out and play, try out all the gear, find out what you like, and then start this process that we're going to go through now. It would be silly for you to jump right into the game with what we're going to talk about in total cost, which is darn near $5,000. So, all right. So having said that, let's pop over to Arms and Arms and take a look at pistols. You've seen a lot of our videos. We've made an awful lot of claims about the 2011, and that still is, frankly, what I would recommend if you were really just going all in. But the truth is that most of us can't afford to start with a $2,500 pistol. So the venerable Glock 34. So this guy with 3 magazines is going to run you around $675. As far as prices go, this is 2017. This is standard retail. I'm sure you got a deal somewhere and you're going to find a Glock 34 for $640 and you're going to tell me all about it, and that's awesome. Anywhere you can save some money, you should. But for the sake of this video, we're using retail prices. So, Glock 34 with 3 magazines. Nice thing about the Glock is that for a few $100 you could really go all the way with the trigger, or you could have someone like Blair at Hawkeye do the trigger for you for $75. You can add some base pads for $35 from like Dawson, something like that, and you can sort of piece into this a little bit. But really, you need the pistol and 3 magazines. Glock 34. All right, so now we're going to talk a little bit about the 3-gun rifle. This one happens to be mine for this season. This is an Obsidian Arms gun with some cool Hyperfire parts. There's a component right there you haven't probably seen before. Trigger, Vortex Spitfire. It's a wonderful gun, and this is one of these places where a lot of guys want to get into 3-gun because of the rifle. It's sort of the sexiest gun, and the reason that we recommend what we recommend is because it's sort of right in the middle. It hits all the benchmarks without being overly expensive or leaving you undergunned if you do get really into the game. So let's go back over to Arnzen and take a little look at some of the rifles. For the rifle, the one that we recommend is, and this is one place where everybody loves to blow their wad because the rifle is kind of what gets a lot of people into 3-gun. And so in this case, what we recommend is this Armalite at $1,495. So why the Armalite? You could probably get a much cheaper rifle. I know you can. I mean, you can spend $700 on an AR-15 and it's going to run. And if that's what you have right now, don't spend any money on this until you've played the game. Going to say this over and over again, but when you're looking for a full-featured rifle at a reasonable price, this is it. You've got the adjustable comp, you've got adjustable gas system, you've got a really good match-grade barrel, you've got a decent bolt carrier group and buffer system, you've got some adjustable parts and a high-quality trigger. These are sort of all the basics, and that's going to run you $1,500. This is probably the most exciting rifle under $2,000 we've ever seen, and so we highly recommend it. As far as barrel length and all that goes, it's somewhat personal. These days, the shorter rifles are more in vogue, and we would recommend going that. To be totally honest with you, most of your shots are well inside of 100 yards, and these little short barrels are excellent for cruising around targets. If you want a 16 or an 18, that's fine. You're never going to know the difference. On top of that guy, we would probably place a Vortex, and so you got $100 for just a basic cantilever mount. And then this year they came out with the Viper 1-6, and those are about $700. I don't have one right here. However, if I was looking for some ways to save a little bit of money, another option at $300 is going to be like something like the Strike Eagle. I would honestly probably push myself to the Viper 1-6. It's for a few $100 extra is a huge upgrade. All right, so that's the rifle. You've got one magazine with the gun. You're going to want to pick up a couple extra PMags, maybe a 30 and a 40, something like that. Just keep it real simple, and you're good to go with the rifle. So the one place we see people cheap out the quickest in the game is the shotgun. So look, up here in Minnesota, shotgun is a huge part of 3-gun for us. Maybe not so much down in the South where they don't have quite the shotgun culture, or frankly, they have the long ranges for the rifle, so they're not looking for interesting ways to make their shorter bays more exciting. And that's going to vary from place to place. But up here in Minnesota, this is a key component. I don't know how many games have been won and lost with the shotgun. And most guys want to get a super sexy rifle or some wicked awesome pistol, and they're totally, just putting the least amount of money possible into the shotgun to get it done. And that's where I think guns like the Stoeger and stuff have really shined. We've looked at the Franke Infinity as well, and those are a couple of different ways to save some money. But let's go over to the shop and look at why we sort of decided to go this route. Now, the shotgun is one of the reasons, frankly, this video took so long to do, because when we talk about budget, there's really a gun that everyone's going to immediately think of, and that's the Stoeger. And we'll show you that as an option in a second, but I am going to go out and say if you're going to spend $1,500 on a rifle, then spending $1,500 on a shotgun makes sense as well. A lot of games are won and lost with the shotgun. With this gun, you're looking at, for the basic M2 is $1279, and we would recommend you put a $75 mag tube from Nordic on there, and then probably have your, not necessary, but really, really nice is to have your lifter cleaned up. Take that pickle fork out of there and open up your loading port a little bit so that it's easier to load the quads into these guns. All in with like $150 worth of upgrades from Hawkeye would be something in the neighborhood of, where are we at with that? 2 1/4, we're at about $1,600 for the shotgun. Okay, but then you're all set. Now, there is another option, and that would be Stoeger. Now this one's ported. I didn't have a 3K 3-gun one in, but this is the Stoeger, and a lot of guys are loving this, and at $700, you're getting a lot of extra parts. You still have to buy the tube. You could probably save $600 or $700 going with this gun, and it's a good gun. There's nothing wrong with it, other than to say I haven't seen them hold up track record wise over the years, so I don't know if I can just straight up recommend this, where the Benelli has got the track record. Frankly, if you look at all the shooters in the top brackets, the vast majority of them are shooting at M2, and there's a reason for that. It's a workhorse. It runs really, really, really well. So, all right, so now we get into the belt gear, guys, and the only thing you absolutely have to come out and play is some sort of a safe holster. You don't need all this fancy retention, custom stuff, but what you do need is a safe, quality holster that you're not going to do anything dumb and shoot yourself with, or anybody else, okay? So this is probably your greatest piece of safety equipment to start besides your eyes and ears. So get a good holster, invest the money there first if you're not going to buy anything else. It's okay to load magazines out of your pockets and shot shells out of your pockets and be slow. That's all right. It's not, we don't care about that. We just want you to be safe. And all these little accoutrements start to add up. This is my competition rig right here. This is an ELS system, but I'm still really regularly using these Blade Tech. This is actually a CR Speed. It's my very first belt. So if you're wondering if you'll still have it, and then there you go, 5 years later. So check out just a little bit more about what we recommend around the belts. I use the ELS system from Safariland, and I recommend that highly, but I also think that for new shooters, flexibility and affordability is kind of where it's at. So I would recommend something like this. This is Double Alpha's belt. Blade Tech makes one. There's a few good ones out there. Oh. Basically, you've got Velcro inner belt and then a very, very stiff, rigid outer belt. And the nice thing about this is it allows you to really stage your gear anywhere on here, and you can move things around. So as you're getting into the game and you're learning where everything goes, you've got a lot of really minor flexibility. With the very popular ELS system, if you know where you want your stuff and you're committed to that setup, it's awesome. But most of you new aren't gonna know that. So belt, recommend like one mag pouch for ARs. You don't need a bunch of AR mag pouches. And then I'd get two, let's say, I think two pistol mag pouches to get you started. So you got one in the gun and two on your belt, plus an AR mag pouch. These guys are 35 and the pistol ones are like 40. These also come with the tech locks on them, which is the mounting system you need for this type of belt system. So again, guys, don't worry about name brands. These are just basic prices on good gear. Blade Tech's never gonna let you down. For the shotgun, you are gonna need, I would say 24 rounds of shotgun on the belt. 3 sets of 8. Cost effective wise, the TACOM Sports are fantastic. These are 35 plus a $12 tech lock, so 47 bucks per 8. So you're looking around just short of $150 to get 24 caddies on the belt. It's about as cheap as you're gonna go. They're good. There are other options that you're gonna maybe find a preference for, but to get you started, this is sort of the way to go. So holster is the last thing on that list, and I failed to grab one. So I'd probably go with the Blade Tech Ice at this point, and the reason for that is they're 65 bucks, and with the plastic guns, you don't necessarily need to have the WRS retention system, which I go back and forth on this, but it's the difference between 65 and $100 and some, right, for the holster. So I also think that if you end up going all in on the game, that you're going to leave this pistol. So spending $100 on a holster early on for a gun you're going to resell or you're going to, sort of relegate to your backup doesn't make a lot of sense. So I'd probably stick with that. The Blade Tech Ice at 65 bucks is your holster. So we added all this up, and what we're looking at is for guns, you're just short of 4,500 bucks. And then the whole belt rig and holsters and everything is running right around 350. So, it's not an inexpensive game. You're looking at $4,800 to $4,900 to get started with the basic equipment. Now, again, there are ways to save money. There's ups and downs, and I could sit here and go, here's the basic package, and here's the middle package, and here's the top package, but that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I just want to give you an overall view of this. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, you cut some money by going with, the $600 gun here and saving 600 bucks, and you went with the Strike Eagle right here instead of the Viper, and you saved $300 or so. So you saved $1,000. So, that's awesome. You're at $3,800 versus $4,800, but these are still the real costs of the game. Well, all right, guys, there you have it. There's the raw number. It's, it's in the $4,800 to $5,000 range, and you can see why I lost a little sleep last night, thinking this might be a discouraging video. Again, for those of you who already have gear, and most of you do, very few people go from 0 to 3 gun, okay? I did it in like 6 months, and it was really painful. But I think I'm an outlier in that. So we're counting on the fact that you've already got a couple of grand into guns and whatever, so you're already kind of moving in the right direction. And again, please hear me when I say, come out and play with what you've got. And if you need to borrow a shotgun or something, if you're in Minnesota and you're in an Ignite match, we keep a full set of guns and gear around. Just let us know what you need and we'll get you sorted out. Can we carry you for a whole season? Probably not, but we can definitely help you out for several matches while you're figuring it out. And I think you'll find that most 3-gun clubs are similar that way. You'll find somebody who's willing to help you out. Borrow a pump shotgun from somebody to get out. Don't just go buy the cheapest thing you can to get started when there are alternatives. So look into that, okay? 3-gunners are some of the coolest guys in the world, and they're always willing to help. You can always find somebody. So we're going to wrap this up. Here's what I would encourage you to do. Put some comments in below this, okay? And I don't care if you totally disagree with me. What I'm trying to do here is create a body of information so that people can come back to this and figure it out, okay? So if you disagree, put it in the post. I'll respond, okay? Let's just, keep it above the belt, and let's talk about gear and not be under some, misguided belief that just because we disagree on a trigger means that you and I need to come to fisticuffs. That's ridiculous. Let's just get down, let's talk about it openly in the comment section and help people, because over time this is going to change too, guys, and I've seen that since our first videos. So let us know what you think. Tell us all about it. Come over to Facebook, go to Instagram, do it right here in the comment section below. But let's open this dialogue up, and man, if we can shave this down to $4,400 or $4,200 and agree on it, I'd be all in for that. I'm not here to sell you gear, okay? I'm just here to show you options and to help you get started in the game, which I've come to truly, deeply love and respect. So I hope this finds you all well, and we'll see you on the next one. God bless.